Pasta alla norcia. I got up this morning and I was going to make baked beans, a special baked beans casserole. That's going to be a doozy, but on my feed came in somebody pasta alla norcia. And so there's this one guy, he's got a good channel, it's called Not Just Another Cooking Show, young guy out of New York. He's looks like second, third, fourth generation, who knows Italian, but they didn't lose the magic. You know, his mom and dad taught him well there how to cook. But he made a pasta alla norcia, and I kind of got my underwear in a knot over that one because there's just a couple things that bug me about it. It looked really good, and he knows how to cook, no question. Follow that recipe, it'll be fantastic. But it got me thinking about what is authentic pasta alla norcia, or authentic anything really in Italian cooking. I've been to dinner and have seen mother and daughter get into a little bit of a heated discussion over how this one makes a particular dish and what they did wrong. The criticism, the level of criticism over this mother and daughters in the cooking is phenomenal. Now, maybe the mother will die someday and the daughter will start making it the way the mother did. Who knows? But you get into a similar thing. We have a little cafe up on the hill here where some guys, we go up there and drink some wine, and everybody around here can cook. This is coming to you from Umbria. Okay, so, and they get into very heated discussions. Talk about how to make this, how to make that. And it's like, it's a big joke. I say, hey, okay guys, take it down a notch. But there's a passion is the word that comes to mind for good food around here. So this pasta alla norcia is the correct way to say it. Pasta alla norcia. It's not nortina or norcia. It's norcia. Even though it's spelled Norcia, you can look it up on a map. That's how it's up in the mountains. Here, the Apennines in very western Umbria. It's practically over in Marche. But because of the coolness in those mountains or the local geography, what they have available, they started making this sausage there a long time ago. And that's really what put my radar on whenever this fellow from Not Just Another Cooking Channel talked about the sausage, like you could use any kind of Italian sausage. True, it's going to be good, but it's not going to be norcia sauce, pasta alla norcia. There's a couple other things he did there that I got a bone to pick with too. Now, let's talk a little bit at least about the dish. A, it's good. B, it's easy. Even if you don't make it in a traditional way, the authentic way. And let's talk about authentic for a second. Authentic changes a little bit from one house to the next, even from mother to daughter. So I'm going to make it in a way that is most authentic to me. First time I had this dish was, here a friend invited me over for a lunch, and his wife, Rosella, made a wonderful lunch. It's a classic Italian serving there, where, you have an appetizer course and a primi dish, like a first plate, primi piatti. Then you have the secondi piatti, which is, I guess, the primi and the secondi, it's hard to tell which is the main course sometimes. Then you have a dolce, a sweet, a dessert. And maybe, some wine with that, maybe some after dinner drinks, who knows. Anyway, well, I can tell you who knows. Everybody around here knows. That is how you do dinner here. So, this was served as the primi piatti. And it was the first real dish that was cooked by an Umbrian cook. Rosella was born about 2 kilometers that way. And Saro, her husband, was born about half a kilometer that way. And I am right in the green heart of Italy, Umbria. Moved here about 1.5 years ago and thought I knew how to cook, but it's at a whole new level here, a whole new level. You talk about old school, old style, whatever. It's good. So, the sausage you buy, like this from the butcher, right? String on it. Now we're gonna have to take it out of the casing, which is easy. But what you got here is sausage. You got panna di cucina, which is a little bit of a shortcut. I'll give another plug here in a second to another really nice channel. What's it called? Vincenzo's Plate. He can cook pretty well. And I'll put a couple more, 2 other good ones that come to mind here in the links. But anyway, panna di cucina, and onion. Not garlic. Not garlic. Onion. And, the classic, what I was served and a lot of people agree on, is the penne ziti pasta. You see, now, Vincenzo made a nice rigatoni, and he has some good thinking going on there. You can tweak this, but if you tweak it too far, at some point it goes off of being something you can call authentic, or that you should call pasta alla norcia. Because part of this whole Italy thing is to respect the sources of things, where they come from, who developed it, who's been carrying on the traditions for years. So I have no problem if you want to modify this dish. If you go a little too far, my only request would be that you change the name a little bit, call it something like pasta in il stile della norcia. Means pasta in the style of norcia. But if you call it pasta norcia, it's got to have norcia sausage. Nothing too far from that. Now Vincenzo says the sausage over in Tuscany is very, very similar. Well, very similar doesn't cut it around here. They're very meticulous. I mean, the things people get into arguments over are little itty bitty things. They are attention, detail oriented. Doesn't mean you can't enjoy good pasta and change the ingredients a little bit. So speaking of ingredients here, oil. You start out here with the cooking the sausage and onion and oil and add in the cream. That makes the sauce. By then your pasta's cooking. You put it in the pan. You cook it a little bit more in there. You give it a dose of pepper. And in this case, but anyway, you're basically done at that point. It's fast. It's fantastic. Now this is one that's a little controversial to me, but Rosella uses it, okay? And she was born 2 kilometers that way. It might be something her mother did, but her grandmother didn't do. I don't know. This is nutmeg. Noce moscata. Noce moscata. It's nutmeg. A little bit of nutmeg you finish this off with. And it gets a lot of this gesture. Or this. It means really, really good. So, yeah, let's get going. Okay, this is what goes in the pan first. Onion and sausage. And it's not, garlic, I'm sure it'd be good, but this is not the way Rosella makes it. And she's my reference on the ultimate norcia sausage. Well, I should say ultimate, but authentic. That's what sort of got my dander going here. Authentic is such a funny thing. It changes over time. Now this is 200 grams of sausage, approximately. It's probably closer to 250. The onion, before I peeled it, was 200 grams. It's basically equal parts of everything. So you know, the sausage here, it's very tricky to buy it loose. One time out of probably dozens, I caught them with a little bit of loose sausage. They hadn't put in the skin yet. And I said, can I just get it loose? You know, with Google Translate in my lousy Italian. And she said, and she had to ask. She had, the wife of the butcher had to actually ask, do we sell it loose? And he said, oh, okay. So at least that's what I thought of it. It was, you know, more or less okay. So the reason I'm putting these two ingredients first is because they will become they will start to cook together with the oil. Only these two. I'm not going to put garlic in this time because I did find that Rosella does not use garlic. It's onions and sausage. Now, this might be a local variation because we're about 20 kilometers from Norcia itself. And that's notable. We can go over there and start to collect some recipes if need be. In any case, I'm just going to break this sausage up, put it in the pan. I'm going to chop the onion up here. Let's get started chopping here. I'm not going to go crazy on it. I probably should. Now watch here. Watch here. Some people cut back in horizontally. And if you've got your fingers over here, that's going to be trouble. Chef Jean-Pierre, I believe it was, should cut him this way. Down in a little bit, in a diagonal. So you miss your fingers. So let's do that. Let's just go ahead and do it this way. Before we actually start to mince things up a little bit. And that gets at least 3/4 of your onion chopped up. And I'm sorry to bore you with how to chop an onion, because, you know, there's 100 ways to do it. None of them are bad. You can get it chopped up in a minute, you know, with a food processor, if you want to do the dishes or whatever. But nothing too fancy here for the onion. Just chop it up. Okay, more onion chopping. Up, 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 up. And work on my technique. I do like what Jean-Pierre said about how he showed me do it. He didn't actually demonstrate explicitly, but I just watched closely what he did. And that does get you down to a pretty nice chop there. Of course, you're left with this little piece at the end here, which you got chopping on. Cut that way a couple of times. Boom. It's done, and it's going to break up into nice little pieces. So I guess this is thermodynamically good. Okay, so here's how we're starting with the sausage. I haven't broken it up all nicely because this is not going to be served in a restaurant. If it's broken up irregularly with a spatula, it's going to be fine. And some oil and some onion. And the heat's not on, but now it is. That's how we start. And I don't know if you've noticed or not, but my pasta water is already boiling. So I'm going to just turn this down to a kind of a medium to low heat. And grab a spatula over here. And just start breaking that sausage up, because I found, and what's his name there? Vincenzo had a couple of good tricks there on his channel for how he browns his onions and garlic and gets things right without messing, without overcooking garlic. I'm half thinking about throwing some garlic in here because, hey, what can that hurt? No, I'm sticking more or less to, Rosella's recipe here as close as I know it. Which means you get the onions and the sausage browned. And the only reason the oil is in there at this point, well, it tastes good, of course, but it's just some good olive oil. Is to let things get started here so the heat can get transferred into the sausage and it can start to release its fat and cook. And really, that fat and the onions cooking together, that's when things really start to smell good. So, just give this a little bit of time. Okay, so you can see here that the onions are not starting to sweat and release their flavors yet, and the sausage is still very far from being cooked. And I did add a little bit more oil. And please notice this pan. These are really, really popular here in Italy. This type of, I'm going to pick this up so you can see it. See how curved that thing is? Whoop, I'll try to do it without spilling. See what that's like? The big old curve on the side here. This, it's hot, radius. These are nice. They're kind of like a wok. Very easy to find here at any grocery store in the cookware section, certainly in a kitchen store. And you could pay anywhere from 20 euros, which is about 20 bucks, to 200 for one of these things. Probably more, I suppose, if you find the wrong store. But they're nice because a lot of people use it because it makes it easy to do this kind of flipping, which kind of randomizes the action there and how things mix together. And I like how that's looking because it's the onions are getting kind of whitish, not clearish yet, and the sausage is starting to get cooked through more. So meanwhile, back here, the water is boiling, which is good. It's hot. I'm going to turn it off for now because this particular pasta is, 9 to 12 minutes, I think it is, or 9 to 11 minutes. 9 to 11. Can you read that? Probably not. Take my word for it. It's 9 to 11. Here's a question for you. And please leave some comments because, it gives me something to do. Read and respond. I'm a curmudgeon, right? Nothing to do but enjoy life a little bit and read some comments and respond. So, this pasta, the question is, how many types of pasta do you have in the closet, in your pantry right now? And the reason, I don't know why I asked this, is because I got like maybe a dozen. I don't think that's nearly enough. So between all the brands, pasta is incredible. Between the brands of pasta and the types and shapes and sizes, it's a whole world. Even if you only have one sauce, if there was only aglio and olio was the only possible sauce in the world, the types of pasta would spark fierce debate here as to which one the flavors stick to better and which ones absorb the oil or the water better. Yeah, it's fascinating to watch because this is the sort of thing that people should be, I think, debating fiercely about. Good food. So my onions are getting a little bit clearer now. A little bit. They're not done yet. And the sausage is starting to cook. And at the risk of sounding like a broken record, you notice I just put the onions and the sausage in there at the same time. Somehow, by the magic of whatever, you don't have to fuss around cooking the onions or the garlic ahead of time and getting them just so, because as you add things to it, some things are going to get overdone, some things are going to get underdone. I've done this now, I don't know how many times. Just put the onions and the sausage in at the same time and start to cook them. Cold. Put them in there cold. The onions, the garlic, with your olive oil. Put them in cold. Turn on the heat low. You see? Not too high. Yeah, I can go much higher. And I can get lower too. But I'm going to just call that a medium heat. Maybe even on the low side. Maybe even on the low side. And that's going to just take its time and get the fat out of the sausage. And that is going to somehow mingle with the onions. I don't know the chemistry of it, these things. And the onions, in the meantime, are releasing their juices and flavors into this. And I don't want to get to high enough of a temperature to, throw those flavors out the window. So, let's just... Yeah, I can tell you, my favorite cook in the world so far. No, I shouldn't say that. There is no favorite. There's so many people that cook well. Some people know what they're doing in terms of just the way they were taught, culturally. Other people know more scientifically what's going on here with the concentrations and diffusion rates and the affinities different types of compounds have for each other. But at this point, I'm past the point where it's starting to smell marvelous. I shouldn't even be using this wooden spatula. At this point, I should just be doing this thing here, which is so easy with these round-sided pans. I mean, you can do it with a flatter-bottomed pan, but it's just more difficult to keep from spilling things. Yeah, the onions are almost there. Well, let me pause this for a second. I think I'm going to go ahead and put in my pasta. Well, let's just do it. Start the fire back up. That water should still be pretty hot. Okay. When that comes to a nice boil, I'll just put in my pasta. Because, as I said, timing is everything in cooking. I learned this a long time ago. Somebody told me. I didn't really learn it until recently. But this particular pasta is, where does it say? Down here. It's way down here. 9 to 11 minutes. In this particular pasta, I'm going to fully cook this pasta. Now, the guy on the channel, what's it called there, Not Just Another Cooking Show, he shows a technique of cooking pasta which is very doggone Italian. You cook it al dente, finish the pasta with the sauce. Very Italian, but not for all sauces. Not for all sauces. For tomato sauces, for aglio and olio, fantastic. But for milk-based sauces, no. Or cream-based sauces, like the norcia. It's actually better, I think, to just fully cook the pasta, And all you have to concentrate on the end is not finishing the pasta with the sauce. You have to just work on incorporating the sauce into the pasta. So when this sauce is done, it's not going to take very long. The pasta is just going to go in here and get flipped and flipped and flipped and mixed to allow the sauce to permeate into the pasta. So with that thought, let's see something else about pasta. Okay, so many shapes and sizes. Why? Because the amount of surface area and the thinness of the walls, the thinness of the pasta has to do with how all the sauces absorb into them. So they've been working at this a long time, the Italians, and they've been far more sophisticated than the rest of the world for a long time. You know, pasta came from China, I suppose, that's what they say. The Italians take something and perfect it. They throw out the bad, they understand what's good, and they perfect it. So, no wonder, you know, there's so many different types of pasta. It's not just one kind of noodle. Some, you know, ramen-ish thing. There's many, many types of pasta, each for certain dishes and for specific reasons. Now, if you're just eating food, fuel, so-called fuel, good luck to you. If you want to enjoy your fuel, then you have to understand more of the sophistications of the Italian cooking. Okay, that is starting to look very good. I'm going to pause this for a second because I have to open a bottle of wine to deglaze this. Okay, so deglazing wine. This is just some fairly inexpensive wine I got this morning. I love the guy's joke. Boom, that's how I like to put it in. A glass, half a glass, whatever. But I love the guy's joke on his video on, what was his channel? Not Just Another Cooking Show is the name of the channel. The guy knows how to cook. He really does know how to cook. But I just had a bone to pick with him about this. Anyway, he had the joke he had was, he had a glass of wine. He said, hey, that's not a half a glass of wine. Took a good swig and said, okay. There you go, half a glass of wine. I forget exactly what his words were, but you understand the point. So anyway, this is to deglaze the pan. Get the oil to. It's a stick-free surface. It's fine. It's probably more important with an iron pan. But these stick-free pans are. You could probably skip this step. But let's go to, I can't remember, Vincenzo's channel. He talked about this point. Yeah, when the wine is getting rid of its alcohol and just leaving a little bit of taste in there. And actually adding a little bit of extra liquid, which is not unimportant. Which is double negative, which is basically the way to say it's important. This little bit of liquid. The wine will boil off before the water does, okay? And then the water will start to boil off, and I don't think you really want that. That's where the oil, you're back down to oil again. You're left with some flavors in the oil, which might not even be distributed around nicely in oil. So, I think this is where this is going to end, and I'm going to wait, and we're going to go with the panna di cucina. Okay, so you can see I've put my pasta in here. The water was boiling nicely. I forgot to salt it, so let's quickly salt it. This is the only salt I add. A little bit, I don't know, it's tablespoon of salt. Like that, get back up the temperature. Now, panna di cucina. Vincenzo uses ricotta, and I suspect that is probably, quote, more authentic, if you will. Judging authenticity is very, very difficult. Okay, so panna di cucina, this is a modern invention. Okay, it's a convenience. It's similar to the heavy cream that the guy on Not Just Another Cooking Channel is using. Get rid of that. Let's start straight in here. But the sauce here now is done. That's it. Well, it's not done. I have to stir just a little bit more here to get it mixed around. But the panna di cucina, you know, the milky sauces, the Alfredo type stuff, there's something about how it absorbs and works with fish flavors and onion flavors. I don't know the chemistry. Somebody chime in here. Austin Brown, where are you? But there's the sauce. It's done a little bit ahead of schedule. That was my fault. I should have put the pasta in a little bit earlier. Oops. I'm just going to turn off the heat here. It'll be good and hot. I'll start to heat things up here again whenever we put our pasta in. Okay, so I'm going to check my pasta. I haven't been watching the time as closely as I should have. I just moved the spoon around in it. You could tell by how it's not a spoon, it's a paddle, really. I just didn't want to dirty up my spoon. I used my paddle for chopping up my, I think you call, I don't know, I'm going to call it a paddle. It's like for paddling a boat, you know? But you could tell by the way it stirs that when the pasta hits the paddle, it's not done. It's a little stiff yet. Just gonna let that go a little longer until it feels good, and then in it goes. And I think I will turn the flame up here on the sauce just to get it bubbly again and nice for when the pasta goes in. I'm going to just put this really low because it's already hot. Should be pretty hot. And so you don't need to heat it very much. I certainly don't want to burn it. But yeah, cross-contamination. Oh my God, I'm using the paddle in the sauce. I just put it in the pasta water. But yeah, right here, this is so good. This is nothing but onions and this beautiful sausage. Oh, yeah, you could eat this with a spoon. Although it's mostly meat and cream, so it's not super healthy. Nothing near healthy. I was thinking about modifying this dish a little bit, chopping up some broccoli to put in it to, you know, give it some more vegetable content. And I think that'd be just fine. There's probably a lot of other vegetables you could use with that too. But today I'm just going to have it in its basic form. Basic form with the sauce, which is bubbling away here. Can you see that? I should turn off this light. It's bubbling away. Just waiting for the pasta. Okay, so the pasta feels right. It's got the right softness to it. If you poke it a little bit there, you can feel it's kind of I hate to use the word rubbery, but it's got a softness to it. I can taste the piece, but you know, you do this enough times, you get a feel for it. So I'm going to go ahead and add the pasta. Put the pasta in. And remember, the traditional way only applies, I think, when you're dealing with olio and aglio and there's different ways to cook pasta, right? Let's turn off the heat there. And depending on what kind of sauce you're using, you need to change up how you cook it. So this is a creamy sauce. And so if you're really going to cook the pasta, finished pasta, the last couple minutes in this creamy sauce, I'm not so sure it makes sense. Okay, and not too much more here. I like this kind of spoon because it lets you get under the pasta pretty good. And it drains it decently enough, but not horribly. So if you want to bring over a little bit of pasta water with it, you can. Okay, so there it is. It's all in there. Now, to the sink. Are you cool enough yet? Nope. Yeah, I can handle that. To the sink with you. And let's get back here. And basically finishing this pasta is just mixing it a little bit. Okay, you see those little brown bits in there? Let me turn off this light. Okay, you see those little brown bits in there? They shouldn't be there. That's where some of the onion got a little bit too browned. But basically, look how nice and mixed that is. This is, I need to just leave that light off. It's nice and creamy and just a couple of flips, and the pasta was basically in a situation where it was screaming for more permeation. It's a sponge pasta. And it really wants to grab up those flavors in the sauce. So we're good. Fire off. Let's put it on a plate. Okay, so plating this up is a nightmare. Right, with your no-stick pan. I dropped a few pieces there. Oh my God, what are we going to do with those? So that's why it's good to have a nice clean cooktop. There's preparation surface. Oh, so to finish this off, just a little bit of pepper. I don't know how sure I can be of how authentic pepper is, but this, I think, a little bit of nutmeg is a Rosella family secret. So just a little bit of nutmeg on there too. Yeah, it might not be a bad idea to cook that nutmeg into the sauce, but it is fragrant, which means I'm not dumping as much in here as you think. Just a little bit. And there we have it. Okay. Final comments, I guess. Notoriously notorious about extending these final comments. This is as simple as it gets, right? It's just the sausage, which is extremely important, and the onion, and the pane di cucina, which is the cream they use here. Some pepper and nutmeg to finish it off. You're not going to be tasting what I'm tasting if you're watching this video this far. But there are a lot of ways you can mess with this recipe. Yeah, mess is not the right word. You can tweak it, right? Who was it? One guy, what was that? One fellow used, truffles in it. Fine. There's Umbrian as it gets, truffles. But it's not necessary. It's good like this. You could whip this up for lunch, for supper, and, sorry, I had to take that bite. It was calling to me. This is good. Now, that same guy, I forget his name, that had the truffles, also talked about how to use cheese instead of the fantastically. And I'm guessing that is probably even more, quote, authentic, even though I've got troubles with that word. So, I'm going to try that with the cheese sometime. But, for your everyday working Italian lunch, dinner, fantastically is quick, easy. You cut the box top off and squish it out. It's good to go. That's almost as easy as the heavy cream. But you can't get it everywhere. So, look, and I'm going to turn the camera back on here in a second and talk some more. Because it's beautiful food. It's unbelievable. It makes you think. So I'll comment a little bit more. But if I don't, bon appetit. I don't even know what to say about this. It's so simple. And I appreciate the fact that you can't get this exact sausage everywhere. There's a lot of viewers in the US. So the guy from New York, from what's his channel? I really like that channel. He can cook. Anyway, his modifications were completely reasonable, I thought. Really, the only issue I had were there were a little bit too much modification to be calling it pasta alla norcia. That's the way you say it. Alla norcia. Like it's a CH, not a C. But looking at what he put together there, I'm sure it's fantastic. But this is closer to a more simple version that I got from the wife of my good friend. They've lived here all their lives in Umbria. And they're big on tradition here. Well, things change a little bit over time. I told you earlier about that mother-daughter argument. Exactly how you do this, exactly how you do that. The perfectionism in this cuisine is... One time I said to my couple of friends on the hill, they were in an argument about food. I can't remember what the exact dish was. But it didn't get like they were ready to fight or anything, but it got a little loud. It was funny. Well, they said, hey, relax, guys. The hotter the fire, the stronger the steel. And they got that. So passion for good food is not a bad thing. And and the YouTubers, the actual YouTubers, I'm just a, fooling around here with this a little bit. The actual YouTubers that I mentioned before, I might be, breaking their balls a little bit about some little things, but it's all intended the same way here in Umbria. These discussions go. It's just about making the food better. That's why it's so damn good. So I'm going to finish my lunch and talk to you at some point in the future, hopefully. Ciao. Buon appetit.